TESOL presents Free Friday webinars. I'm Shelly Sanchez-Terrell, your hostess today, and we are here because of AmericanTESOL.com. Every Friday, you can see us. I think we've been doing this for the last 7 years. We have over 100 video recordings of our 30-minute webinars, and you can find those on youtube.com/user/atesol. In case you want to catch up with our various topics. We talk about integrating technology for pretty much all subjects, all learners. And we also talk a lot about how to help English language learners and those with literacy needs. So we do talk a lot about reading, writing skills as well. You can get a certification for teaching with technology, for teaching young learners English, for teaching advanced TESOL, and also for teaching business English. If you go to AmericanTESOL.com, you can find all of this. Today's topic is about search literacy for digital learners. And even though there's a child on here, we're going to talk about some really great sites also for older learners, learners in college and universities and high school, for researching as well. And that's currently what I teach. I've taught from 2 years old all the way up, so I try to vary the resources for this as well. It's really important that our students learn search skills. This is one of those must needs, especially for living in this digital age where students Google everything. The YouTube where they Google everything. And for many of our students, the search results that they come up with aren't filtered. They're not very safe. They're not protected. And so we need to make sure that there are safe options. So that way, when you're at school and your students, you're teaching them the habits on how to, conduct good searches, that they're able to come up with results that are safe for them, that they can look at, and also that are verified. So we do see a lot in the news and on social media about the problem with fake news or information that is false or misleading. And so it's important that the results our students look at, that they vet them, that they use a critical eye, and that they realize, that they're able to quickly decipher, okay, this is good information, or this is probably not going to be good information. This is going to be information that comes from a source that is either biased. And there are ways we can teach them that. The internet can be really, really powerful. It's just we have to teach our students how to use it better and more properly. The other part about this is there's a lot of things in my new book, which recently just got published, so I'm very excited about it. And I dedicate a whole chapter to conducting skilled searches, and also to making sure digital literacy is at the core. And one of the main ideas behind this is also to make sure that our students are able to see and the importance of making sure things are truthful, to make sure that they're able to care about the truth and preserving and protecting the truth, and what happens as a result of not doing this. So it's really important for a lot of the lessons. A pre-task now that teachers can do is that they can have a Google search before you actually tackle a subject. Your students can see, Google images, or they can see images online to kind of help them understand, get the foundation in their brain, the visuals, videos, things like that. And if you want to do a Google search, then the resources in this webinar are really going to help you out. So in this webinar, we're going to talk about safe search engines, ones where you can do a quick search. It's powered by Google, but these are safe search engines that filter out results that are not suitable for adolescents, children, or teenagers. So we're going to talk about safe search engines. We're also going to talk about terms, because that's part of being a skilled searcher, is your students have to know what kind of terms and keywords to put in. So let's say, for example, they're doing a research about, they're conducting research about an animal. Well, they can search for animals. That could be one of the basic search terms, but they're not going to come up with a lot of results. They're going to have to spend more time trying to go through results. That is particular to their animal. Now, if they're talking, for example, about zebras, well, then they can put in a keyword of zebra. If they're looking for certain information, let's say that you have different categories of the research that they have to find information. Let's say that they have to find out if the zebra is an omnivore, a carnivore, or herbivore. So then they can learn how to put in keywords to be able to find that information quickly. Operators means how can you use the search features and tools, things like quotations, different types of punctuation to make your search results better. So we can, for example, look for, we can use quotations, we can use dashes, we can use, there's a lot of different types of operators that help us narrow down our search results. Filter tools, how do we make sure that when we do Google, what kind of features does Google or Bing have? Bing is another is another search engine, and how can we make sure we filter results if those are the types of search engines we do use that are not necessarily safe? Another idea is search strategies. What kind of strategies can we use? How can we plan to make a great search plan and be able to get results quite quickly that are really topical? And then also, how can we evaluate these results very quickly? How can our students scan a list of their results and know right away, okay, that's going to be somewhere where I need to click because that's going to be good information. I shouldn't click there because, and then be able to understand why it's not a good place. So all of these are skills and ways that we can help our students be better at searching. I bet you didn't know there were so many skills that you need for this. So I like two particular sites that really cover the strategies as far as operators and how to be better at Googling it or Binging it or whatever search engine you use. And the great thing is that some of the information in this particular infographic that's at 7gag.com actually does help you with other search engines as well. Search engines, some of the features may not work, but most of them, especially the big ones, do end up. So if you do, for example, like on Mozilla or something like that, these tend to be the same operators. So what I really love about this graphic is it gives you an idea of what you want. So it starts off by telling you want a New York Times article about test scores in college, but you don't want the SATs, and you want this between the dates of 2008 and 10. So it helps you narrow down the search, and then it talks about how to Google it. It says, okay, if you use quotations, then that's going to give you the exact phrase, not each of the words separately. And then it tells you that the minus sign, this is an operator, quotations is, and then that the minus sign is going to exclude something. So for example, you may not know that if you put minus Wikipedia on Google, you will not get any Wikipedia results. So that's really, really very useful information for students to know, because what if they get a research paper assignment and the essay says specifically, you're not allowed to use Wikipedia. So if you put minus Wikipedia, then they won't get any results, and that really helps them out. If they put cite with a colon, then that only searches for a particular site. So here they want a New York Times article, then they only look at newyorktimes.com. So, and then it shows you, it says if you use dash, then it will search related words such as higher education and university, which we know are synonyms of college. So that can be very, very, very useful. This shows you a better query. We call these queries when we put this in a search result. We call it a query, and that's going to give you really great results as well. So already over here, you've learned a lot just by looking at this infographic. It shows all the results from within this particular time frame if you use ... as well. So these are already, you've learned 5 operators just from this one part of the infographic. If you take a look again, it's going to give you some more ideas. That particular one, it gives you a whole bunch of ideas that you can learn from as well. The other one that I really like is from this spa library. They have an infographic under their Google a day. It shows you, it's a very colorful one. It looks a lot like Google. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you can learn about the search operators and tips that it goes there. So here it talks about, it says, so your family, and this is really great, especially for young learners, because a lot of them have a lot of difficulty when it comes down to narrowing their search topics. So it gives really practical examples, what I really like, that kids can follow, adolescents can follow. The other one was aimed more towards high school, as you could tell, and more college. But for this one is really good for adolescents and children as well. So it presents them a situation. So your family just bought a new miniature Dachshund, and you need to find how to take care of this Dachshund. So it says start with the obvious, put in the word Dachshund. I'm probably not even pronouncing that right. Or wiener dog. I see. But what if your puppy really needs to go to obedience school and you want to find more information? So it's try puppy obedience school. And then it talks about here the operator or. Okay, so it says here, let's say your parents don't have enough money to send to obedience school. So you can try puppy home training, or you put in the query obedience school, and that teaches students something very easy with their search results. And then it even talks about quotes. It tells them that an exact phrase, the search engine searches for anything within quotes, but that's an exact phrase. It lets them know about the minus sign, and it lets them know that if you don't want, let's say you want puppy home training, but we know that the wiener dog is not a large dog, we know, so we're going to minus large breeds, and that means we won't get anything for German Shepherds or Dalmatians, things like that. And then it says, here it gives the example, your mother says your puppy is a rapscallion. And let's say you want to discover what that means. If you use the word define in the 2 colons, then you can, and put the word, then it's going to find a definition, which is really great for our language learners. You can actually just put rapscallion define, and Google is going to give you the first result it's going to give you as a definition, because I do this all the time, so I know that this is what happens. So if you put any word and then define afterwards, it's going to give you the definition. Or if you put definition, it'll give you, the first thing will be the actual definition. And then here, it gives you some really useful things about Google as well. It's going to let you know how you can do math on Google as well. So if your students struggle with math, it tells you here that you can actually type in the math, actually doing it yourself, the math, the adding or the division, and that Google's going to give you the result for it. So that's also can be very, very helpful as well. So let's talk about better search queries. And I told you that's what you type inside the search box, and terms, because this is something that our students have a lot of difficulty with. Common Sense Media has a really great lesson plan for educators on how to teach your students how to, and it walks them through the steps of not only type, it's in my book as well. I have ways that your students can be better at searching. But this Common Sense Media one you can access as well. And what it does is that your students conduct these searches, they type these queries, and then they see the results. And after each time, they evaluate what kind of results they get. So for example, the first one, they have to use multiple specific descriptive keywords for narrow results. In my book, I actually suggest creating a search plan where your students write down different types of words that relate to their topic. for example, animals. Then they can put, they can make it more specific, be more specific. Animal in North America, a nocturnal animal, a zebra. You know, there are lots of ways to make whatever. So they start general, and then you want them to work to more specific. Now we know we don't want them to be extremely specific. We do have to let them know that as well. That if we do tell them, for example, let's say it's a certain type of species of zebra that's only found, that sometimes if you're too specific, you may find not as many search results. So if that becomes a problem and it's too specific, then your students can try making it a little less specific. So these are things we need to walk through with our students. Make sure that they have training in this, trying different types of search results so they can see what are the possible results of this. And if the results that they come up with not only talk about the specific topic, but also have resources that are scholarly resources or resources that are believable and also factual. They're based on facts and experience. So we can have our students go through the results. And in this particular strategy, one of the things they do is they look and they really quick, Google shows you the URL. And if they see the URL is from .edu, .org, then, or if it's from a zoo or from a museum, if they see it's, then they can say, yeah, that's probably going to be a good result. It's from a zoo, the San Diego Zoo. They know information about animals, so I'm going to click there because they probably have some good information about my particular animal. Now, if they just have it from John Doe's blog, then we need them to be able to figure out, okay, John Doe, he may have a very, he may love zebras, but perhaps he's not the best source that we should click on right away. Maybe, if we can't find anything else, or maybe we're just interested in what John Doe says, maybe much, much later, we can look at John Doe's blog, but he's probably not someone that we want to quote in our research because he's just someone that's very interested. So things like that we need our students to look at. We also need them to realize that some words mean more than one thing. And in this case of technology, especially our digital era, there's a lot of different words that have multiple meanings. For example, the word tag. Tag can mean the game, tag you're it. Tag can mean I tagged you in a picture. Tag can mean something as a label to categorize. For example, if you're using this something like a Digo, then you can tag things, which basically means you can find them later with keywords. So there's so many. For example, if your students get the animal, they want to look for a bat. Well, if they just put bat, then they're probably not going to find necessarily everything about the animal, the bat. Instead, they're probably going to also find things about playing baseball. I mean, there's so many different. So your students, it's good for them to try these different results, go through the lesson plan. Here, it gives them the different queries. It gives them different ways to do their operators using quotes, the minus sign, and then also how to narrow down their keywords and get really good keywords there. And the other thing that our students need to realize is the difference between keywords versus questions. And the reason this is so important is because we have to, for us, this is very obvious. We know that if you want to find the answer to a question online, you do not type in the question. Because you put in keywords, you're going to get better results. It's just going to help you out a lot more. However, our kids are growing up in an age when they can ask Alexa, when they can ask Google. I mean, they're actually prompted to ask vocally. So many of our very young learners might think that you type a question. If you want to know more about bats, that you're going to ask, do bats live in caves? They might think that that's something you would want to to type in. Exactly. And if you type a long question, it picks out your keywords sometimes, but it doesn't necessarily narrow it down. It's better if you just put the keywords because that's going to give you better search results. So our students do need to learn the difference that, when you type in a query, you don't want to type in a question. You want to type in keywords, and you're going to get better results that way. Because Bing and Google are two of the top search engines, they have their own search literacy resources. Bing.com has some really great videos that walk students through, and this is, elementary all the way to university. You can use them. They're a lot like the Common Craft videos, and what they do is they walk them through. It even gives you like lesson plans to go with them for K through 4, 5 through 8 in high school. But even your college students, I have freshmen in college that I teach, and they like them as well. So it walks them through how search engines work. It lets them know. It walks them through a video through how to choose the right terms, how to evaluate their search results, and how to stay safe online, where to go visit, not to provide these information about personal information, things like that, about security, about viruses, Trojan, all of that. So Bing has some really great resources about that. And of course, Google has some really great resources. They have a whole entire curriculum on search education, and they have it for different levels. So let's say that you believe that your students are more at the intermediate level, then they can do the lesson for that, for identifying the right search terms. You can decide. And the other part of this, it has different types of stages that it walks them through, tons and tons of lessons that you can have on this. But they also have, every single day, they have a Google a Day challenge that tests your search skills to see, that way you're always keeping keen on your search skills. And so here they have understanding search results, narrowing a search to get better results, searching for evidence for research tasks, evaluating the credibility of sources. They have all of these lesson plans. And then the Google a Day lesson plan is Google a Day challenge is for any subject. So if you teach CLIL, content, language, integrated learning, or if you teach culture, geography, or history, just click on that category. Here I click culture, and then it's going to tell you what the challenge is of the day. So for this particular challenge, and it does it in different languages, so it's really great. Here it is in German, but it has different languages, so that way that you can use it in different languages as well. Oh, really? Oh, that's great to note. So Christina Seraphim from Brazil says that the Bing videos are not available in Brazil. So that's something to look at, because definitely some of these resources might not be available in your particular country, which is very sad. Hopefully they will be soon. So here at the culture, it says one of the most famous photos of the 20th century was taken at a memorial service for victims of La Cobre. On the original print, what's stamped in the lower left corner. So you can use these as prompt. You can use these as thinking challenges when students walk in the classroom. It works out really well. So let's talk about scholarly research, because a lot of times our students don't know how to look up information that already has. What we mean by scholarly searches is that it's peer reviewed. And that's what's really important. A lot of our students think Wikipedia is. So you can introduce them to journ.org. Journ.org has millions of free academic articles, chapters, and theses. Now, the reason this is important is because there's a lot of search engines out there, databases like ERIC, EBSCOhost, and unless you're attached to the library, those articles are free. But sometimes you have to pay for them. Journ is free. So journ.org is one. Journ.org also gives you strategies on how to use search queries. It has the quotes, the keywords, and it tells you how to find better results on Journ as well. The other one that's very, very common, a lot of people like, is Questia.com. Questia is really great because it will give you books, academic journals, magazines, newspapers, and encyclopedia results. The other thing I really love about Questia is that it also gives you different key terms. So let's say you type in the keyword climate change. Well, it's going to say we also found results under global warming. So it helps you with your queries, with your key terms. It helps you because it automatically says, oh, you might want to search here for global warming as well. You can put the title, the author. So I think Questia is one of the really great sites to find scholarly research. Every year I teach my students, especially my college students and high school students, to use scholar.google.com. The reason why I love it is because you type it in, you include the articles, everything like that. You type in your queries. But the great thing is that it also, when you click my citation, well, you can put here, find articles. It can say the dates. You can narrow down your searches, authored by a particular person, published in this and that, and then you can narrow down the dates, which is really important because that's the other thing. Students have to find results that are current. We don't want before 2000. I always tell my students you can't do it before 2000. Even 2000, I would prefer 2017 and 2010. But if you can't find anything like that, well, but I want it after the year 2000. So the other great thing, the reason why I love scholar.google.com is because it'll let them see the result of a PDF. If it's available as a PDF, you can just click it. But the other thing that I really love about it is over here where it says cite. When you click the word cite, then it's going to let you copy and paste the MLA, APA, Chicago, Harvard, Vancouver citation. For students who write essays and have to follow these formats, I really don't like taking off 5-10 points because they didn't properly cite it with MLA. So it's really, really important that the citation, that they're able to put the citation on there. And I love that. It's so easy to do. They just copy and paste and make sure that it's formatted correctly. Just because they copy and paste doesn't mean that it's going to format on their document correctly. So before I end, I want to show you some kid-friendly search engines. And there's quite a few of them. There's 7 of them that are great for adolescents, that are great for teenagers, and especially good for very young learners and kids. So for very young learners and kids, Kiddo.co. It has a fun little robot. You can find images, news, video, encyclopedia, and web searches. It's powered by Google. KidRag.org is really great. I love it. It has a little dinosaur on the top. It's a safe search for kids. Has information for parents, and it says it's designed by kids, which it looks like it. So it's search for kids by kids. KidsClick.org has different kind of categories to help students out if they're looking at a particular type of category. It has pictures, it has sounds, it has video, so they can look for digital media as well if they're trying to include that in their different digital media projects. So mostly with kids, they don't write essays or research papers. Now we can get them to do digital posters. We can get them to do podcasts. And so all of these multimedia search results are very good as well. Plus it has alphabet search, so they learn the alphabet. Kidsearch.com, you can do a web search, pictures, videos, games, which they could love. I try to get my students to diversify and put different multimedia, including games, as results as well. KidsZSearch.com. KidsZSearch is good. The only thing that really it has a lot of different things. It has their games. It has what's the most popular game there. It has video results from KidsZTube, which is a safe site for videos. It has most popular videos. How to draw a boss baby is one of the most recent one. Unicorn ice cream, how to make it. It has Kids Talk, which are asking answers and questions from kids. It's from the Kids Z social network. So you have a lot of different options for the Kids Z search as well. Chuzito is the only one you have to sign up for. You actually have to register, but it does give you a free trial. Then after that, I have no idea what it costs. This is more for like teenagers and adolescents. So if you want to try it, you can try it too. The other ones you don't have to register or sign up for, so that's really good. The other one is SafeSearchKids.com. The reason why this one is the least is because it has ads. The other ones don't really have ads or anything, so I like that. And this one, it's saved ads, but still, I don't like anywhere where kids can start. So Safe Search Kids will give you images, it'll give you a wiki, it'll give you videos, but it's my least favorite because it has these, ads that pop up with it. So that's just one thing to know about it. You don't have to register or anything, but I would use that as the last alternative. The Kentucky Digital Library is really good for adolescents, for teenagers as well. You can find this collection of newspapers, images, old books, maps, oral histories, so they can listen to the different ones. This one, I mean, it's really, really great. The results is like looking through their library. So you find a lot of results that way. These are a lot of public domain um, um, images and stuff that students can use for projects and stuff like that. So it has some interesting things. I think it's, you do have a lot, you hear Frankfurt, things like that. So you get a lot of different types of media as well. And that's it. So if you want to find out more, you can go to shellyturtle.com/search, or you can go ahead and also look at my website, which is teacherrebootcamp.com. I did write a recent post about that, that you can find the different types of sites that you mentioned. And then you can always find our webinar. We usually have it later on tonight or tomorrow on Saturdays. We post the webinar recording now. So you can go to youtube.com/user/ATESOL and find all our